critical of human perspective.
Welcome to Unbiased and On the Fence. I'm Shane. Thank you so much for joining. I'm looking at the chat room here, and it seems like the debate has already began into whether people are hearing Yanny or Laurel. Now, I have to admit, I really felt like the outsider because going into this, I was looking at it, and I was not hearing either one. I was hearing like Yarry or Larry, or somewhere in between. It was almost not even like a word to me. It's just sort of, I don't know. It just sounds jumbled up to me. Let me go ahead and get right into that part of this broadcast. And then I've got some announcements, and I want to share some viewer picks with you.
Do you hear Yanny?
Laurel. Laurel.
Or Laurel?
Laurel. Laurel.
A recent Twitter poll found that 47% of people hear Yanny, while 53% hear Laurel. Clearly, this has created an internet argument that is dividing.
Okay, I'm going to play it
nation.
again, just in case
so
you guys
what
are
is, do you
just
hear
hopping in
Yanny?
late. Here we go.
Do you hear Yanny?
Laurel. Laurel.
Or Laurel?
Laurel. Laurel.
A recent Twitter poll found that 47% of people hear Yanny, while 53% hear Laurel. Clearly, this has created an internet argument that is dividing the nation. So, what is the science behind the madness? One of the first...
Okay, so let me switch my headphones back. What do you guys hear? Do you guys hear Laurel? Do you hear Yanny? Or do you hear something else that is not really either one of those? Because I would definitely fit, even getting the primer saying, you know, the choice, you're going to hear one or you're going to hear the other. I still cannot even force myself to hear it right. Now, my son, I played it for him. It's like, he's like, it's Laurel. And I'm like, how do you hear Laurel? It's just, it was mind blowing. So anyway, yeah, I hear, I definitely hear sort of an R sound in it, like a Yarry or Larry. It's not really a Y. It's not really an L, but I definitely hear sort of an R and an E at the end, which is really strange because my son's like, how do you hear an E at the end? Yeah, Sherry saying that her son hears Laurel. Now, somebody had the explanation that if you're older, you'll hear Laurel, and if you're younger, you'll hear Yanny. But I think that's opposite because like my son is, you know, he's 11 and he hears Laurel, and I'm like, what the heck? So anyway, in this video I have here, they actually do something that really helps clear it up. It made me to where I could hear, at least almost hear both of them. So let me play this really quick.
Twitter user @XXV posted audio of the pitch brought both down and up. When you listen to it brought down 30%, you will hear Yanny.
Yanny. Yanny.
But when you listen to it with the pitch brought up 30%, you will likely hear Laurel.
Laurel. Laurel.
Your brain has so much stimulus at all times that it uses existing information and precise neurological pathways to focus.
Okay, so that definitely works for me. When you slow it down, I can definitely hear it sound more like Yanny, although it's still not perfectly clear, but I can hear Yanny at any case. Or like somebody said Yammy, I can kind of hear Yammy. And then when they sped it up, I could definitely hear Laurel, finally. So I thought that was a pretty good way of hearing them both. But yeah, when it's just played at normal speed, and just so you guys know, for the correct answer, it was recorded as Laurel, and it had some highs switched in over it to sort of introduce a little ambiguity to it to make it a little bit more difficult. But he did originally record Laurel. So that's pretty much really all I had to add to that. And I did want to say, you know, it's sort of an audio illusion, sort of like we have, you know, we had the dress, the blue, black dress, or the white and gold dress, and it's just how your mind perceives it as being. Now, I pulled up this image because it gets into color constancy and how your brain tries to figure out a color by its surroundings. And that was one of the things with the dresses, is that if you sort of saw the surrounding as being dark, you'd see it one color, and if you saw it as being a light color, and it's same way with the shoe that people were seeing is gray and white. I'm sorry, it was pink and white or gray and blue. But here it's a perfect example of how the brain works. If you look at this square right here, it looks orange. If you look at it up here, it looks brown. And that's because your brain takes into consideration the surroundings and how shadows are playing on the colors. So this is like a visual representation, I think, of sort of what we're looking at with the audio thing.
And interprets the square as lighter than it appears until the shadow is taken away. Back to the dress, and we have a...
See, and there we have it. Here's the dress that I spoke of. I don't think they have an image of the shoe.
Here, the context is very arbitrary.
Yeah,
we're so close up to the dress that we don't really know its surroundings, and the brain has to make the dress as white with a bright blue sky. Gold color would interpreting the dress. Here.
So yeah, I did link both of these videos in the description below. Here's an actual image of the dress. So if you're seeing white and gold, you can see this is actually on someone here, and you can see it's blue and black. But anyway, these images are below. I did have a couple of announcements. If you are in the Tulsa area or within driving distance, we're talking about having a get together next month. Just, I don't know, 2 or 3 hours, maybe on the weekend next month. If that's something you'd like to come and you're not like to come, have you guys come. I can hug your neck, shake your hands, and as well as everyone meet each other. Please do email me. I did put my email in the description box below, so you can email me. Just put Tulsa in the subject. You can create a folder and put it in there, and I can have everyone's information, because I'm not going to really publicize everything. I'm just going to do everything because it's going to be just a small get-together. But I had Susan in the area and a few other people that was talking about, you know, coming, you know, getting together and meeting. And I thought, you know what, we need to have a get-together for anyone that's in the area. And I actually have Vanessa VA coming on next week, and she's going to, actually it's the week after next. She's got to get together as well. That if you don't know about it, you can go to her channel. Let's see, hug your neck. Yeah, you can hug my neck. I can hug your neck. Or if that's weird, we can shake hands. It's all good. So just a little get together. Everybody can meet each other. And so yeah, do email me with that. Now tomorrow I'm going to have on Debbie Solaris, and this is really going to be cool. She's going to do a live reading. She can read the Akashic records and everything. I'm really looking forward to this. This is going to be going down tomorrow at what time was it? I think 5 Eastern. I will definitely send out a notification ahead of time. And yeah, Diane, that would be a really long drive, and you'd have to have some kind of you know, boat apparatus on your wheels to get across the big old ocean. But yeah, it is a little bit far for you to visit across the pond and everything. But not too far for you to visit tomorrow. And oh, there's Debbie Hazelton. So that was such a great show yesterday. I loved having you on. Such an inspiration. I see she's in the chat. Kate Wright, how far is Tulsa from St. Louis? Gosh, about 6 hours. I was born and raised in St. Louis. So, yeah, I've driven it many times. I've done it in, you know, 5 hours and something, but taking breaks, stopping in, usually I stop halfway in Springfield and get gas or whatever. So, yeah, probably too far to drive from St. Louis. I actually might be going to near Branson tomorrow, or not tomorrow, but next week. And I'll just do the show live from the road if I do. So I haven't actually scheduled any guests. I'll probably just do things solo, because I think it'll be too hard without, because I typically, like now I'm running 2 computers. I've got 2 older computers splitting the workload, and I think it'd be too much to try to have a guest on with just my laptop on the road, or I might have to just do it from my phone. Excuse me, when it gets service on it, or just stop off at a McDonald's or something, if the area I'm in does not have Wi-Fi. Let's see. Scott, touring the U.S. That is awesome, man. Yeah, there's a show on Netflix, if you guys haven't seen it. It's called Expedition Happiness, where they take this bus and they transform it and they go on the road with it, and it's such a cool movie. Definitely want to see it, because they, you know, man, it really taps into that spirit of wanting to travel and enjoy nature and just get out on the open road. Oh, you did? That's oh, you're responding to someone else. Yeah, that the music in it's even good. The one lady in it does her own music, so you get to enjoy that music. And you know, me and my wife watched it. It was wonderful, and then she's been listening to her music ever since we watched it together. So let me see here. I want to share some images during this broadcast, because I'm trying to stay caught up, because I have people send me images all the time. And so I typically want to just show them at the beginning of a show, and then I've got some of my own images. Now this comes from Christy, who sent me this image. I loved it because it's from Branson, Missouri, from the Sound and Light show, I believe she said it was. And it says, "Do not climb on lion, lamb, or rocks." But here we have the lion and the lamb lying down together. The lion shall lie down with the lamb. So, you know, the residue for those who see, and it's just a sculpture like any other for those who don't, I guess. But I definitely wanted to share that. Thank you, Christy, for sending me this. I loved it. And then let's see who we had here. Oh, now, you know, I did a show. I talked about the bananas a while back, and one of my viewers, Lindsay, sent me these images of the bananas from one of her trips. And I think she said one of them was up and one of them was down. There we see they're growing up and one of them's growing down. So it's strange that she pulled out her images after I said bananas now grow up, and she was able to pull up images of both, which is I found to be really wild. Let's see here. Okay, I'm gonna go back to this one. Now, let's see, this is from Renata in LA. She sent me this picture here. I don't know if you guys can see the rainbow halo. Let me see if I can bring it in a little bit closer. Now, this is just the lens flare, but you can see the rainbow halo around the sun. Pretty cool. And this is actually, I was talking about Susan that lives here locally, being at the meeting, the get together in Tulsa. She sent me these images of a double rainbow. Now check this out. This is so cool. Beautiful. It's almost like a rainbow gateway or rainbow bridge. It's amazing how it just gets darker on the other side of the rainbow, isn't it? Really wild stuff. Here she took this one so you can kind of see the fainter one. I can see it. I don't know if it's showing up for you guys okay, but you can see there's a brighter one and then a dimmer rainbow just over here. Here's a further out one. You can make out the other rainbow. It's real faint, but it's like right in there. Let's see if I can. Yeah, that one's really hard to see, but it's there. Now, I had brought up, this is an image I took recently. I brought this up because a while back I was saying how it seems like, now there's actually some, you know, that it was making the camera clip because of the brightness. But I was talking about how some of the clouds seem to really like almost entirely block out the light and create these really dark shadows. Like the clouds are just more reflective. Like you can see this is right in front of the sun, but like see how like hardly any light is actually getting through the clouds? Even on the ones that's right in front of the sun, you can see it almost completely blocks out. Now, I know some people say chemtrail, some people say this and that, but I just know that this is really unusual looking. For a cloud to silhouette the sun in such a way is just odd to me. Here's sort of pull back a little bit. They were spraying, you can see right here. And we've talked about the undulatus asperatus clouds, the sort of the standing wave pattern. I've talked about that before in the past, and you can kind of see it happening here. But right here, you can see it's like just the clouds just seem so black and really silhouetting, like completely blocking out the light. It's strange. I believe this is the one. Yeah, it's kind of hard to make this one out. I took this one with my son the other day, and you could see rainbows just like in all of the surrounding clouds. It's sort of not showing up very good here. Maybe it's in the next one. Shows up a little bit more. All of these, you can see colors throughout. Here it's showing up a little bit better. You can see the pinks and blues and purples over here. Really wild stuff. Yeah, somebody says pollution. It does look like pollution. It's just so black. I think it's something they're spraying. They're trying to block out maybe not only the, you know, the sun rays, but maybe the cosmic rays, or but it's just the fact that you could see it so well. Just, you know, because it wasn't raining or anything. So it's just the way the clouds were reacting to the light. Okay, let me pull this back and find, I think it had another folder. Oh, here, these are from Patty Jo. Now, she sent me these, and this is sort of what I was just trying to show you on the image I took, but it's more evident on there. You can see these bands of pinks and blues in the clouds. You can even see that standing wave pattern I was talking about, like energies going through the clouds, creating that. If it's man-made or natural, I don't know. It just seems different than what I'm used to. You can see it right in there. Really cool. Thank you, Patty Jo, for that. Let me go to the next one. She sent me a couple of them. It's strange. It's almost like ripples in the water, you know? It's like energy is being picked up, but you can see those iridescent clouds, which are pretty cool. Now, a while back, I was watching a video, and somebody was taking their camera, and they were taking pictures of planets, and they were saying that how come we can't see the planets very clearly? They just sort of look like these, you know, light orbs in the sky. How come they don't look like the pictures that we see? And so I had actually taken some pictures of Jupiter with my telescope, and it's hard to line your camera up and not bump your telescope when you're trying to, because I don't have all the equipment to, you know, actually take pictures. But I did capture these 4 images that I wanted to share, and I adjusted the light in different ways so you guys can see what's going on here. Now, this is through the telescope at Jupiter. You can see Jupiter. It almost looks like the moon, and you can see Jupiter's moons right here. This is amazing. Now, with the naked eye, it just looked like a bright star in the sky. All of this adds together to just look like one single point of light. But once you zoom in with the, oh, thank you so much, Sherry. When you zoom in with the telescope and you look at it, you can see there's actually moons around Jupiter. So what I did was I wanted to see if I could actually make out, here's another one with the moons around it. So then I adjusted the camera where it wasn't as bright, because I wanted to see if you can see Jupiter look like the pictures. Now, if you look really close, you can actually, when I darkened it, you can see the bands across Jupiter. They're really faint, but you can make them out. It's just my equipment isn't that great, you know. But I think the next one might be a little bit better. Here, I darkened it a little bit more. and you can sort of see they're going this direction, right? This way. You can see the bands. You know how Jupiter has the bands across it in like the dot or whatever. You can kind of make it out. It does look like Jupiter. And I was going to get Saturn a little bit later that night, but it ended up getting cloudy and I wasn't able to get it. But so cool to actually, with it zoomed out, it's a little more apparent, I think, that you can see lines across it. So I was able to capture it looking more like the pictures we see of Jupiter. But, you know, I don't have the best of equipment, so work with what I got. But I was able to be satisfied with the fact that it does look like the images of Jupiter that we see. So pretty cool. Let me see. Let me go to here. Let me scoot me over here a little bit. Okay, so let me go to the chat a little bit here. Alone one. Yes, hello, all the people of the world. And that picture was about from a week ago. So, Jamie, what is up, man? And Josee, thanks for being here. It's so funny. She texted me or sent me a Hangouts message while you guys were in the chat. She goes, "There's people lining up in chat. No pressure or anything." She knows how to make things pressury. It's funny. Jen's Gems, thanks for sending me the information about Yanny and Laurel because I was not aware of that yet. I don't know that it's, you know, pointing to anything. I think our perceptions are always changing, and I think our perceptions can change, like with the way people hear different changes in the Mande1a Effect. I think once your brain is trained to hear a word or you know what the words are in a song and then it changes, I think sometimes your brain still hears the original because it knows that's what it was, you know, and you know that the song didn't get re-recorded. So there was a study years ago that they would put these, you know, things on people's head to check their brain patterns. And then they would play this really popular song. And then they would cut the song off at like the main hook of the song, the chorus or whatever. And most of the people that knew the song already, their brain appeared to hear the song, even though they stopped playing it at that point, because the brain took over and filled in that gap because they already knew what came next in the song. So I think a lot of times that might be happening. And I think that may be what was happening with, you know, some of the things that seem like flip-flops. Not that there aren't flip-flops. I believe there are, but there were times when some of my subscribers and I were discussing the change with I Began to Pray or Pretend to Pray in the Mamas and Papas song, California Dreamin'. And they were hearing it the original way still, Began to Pray instead of Pretend to Pray. So I think when it's like that, sometimes you just hear it a certain way and, you know, your brain just hears it that way. That's why I was talking about priming my brain to hear Yanny, or Laurel in the beginning. And even with priming it, I still just heard yarry. And I'll play it again for you guys because did I already close it? I'll play it again for you guys because I know some people just hopped in. And these links are in the description, so you can check it out yourself.
Do you hear Yanny?
Laurel. Laurel.
Or Laurel?
Laurel. Laurel.
A recent Twitter poll found that 47% of people hear Yanny, while 53% hear Laurel. Clearly, this has created an internet argument that is dividing the nation.
So I don't know if you guys are hearing Yanny or Laurel, or if you're like me and you're hearing yarry or Larry. To me, it's like yarry. It's not even really a word. But when they speed it up and slow it down, I can hear it better. See what you guys think of this.
Both down and up. When you listen to it brought down 30%, you will hear Yanny.
Yanny. Yanny.
But when you listen to it with the pitch brought up 30%, you will likely hear Laurel.
Laurel. Laurel.
Your brain has so much stimulus at all times that it uses existing information and precise.
Laurel.
When you listen to it with the pitch brought.
Yanny. Yanny.
But when you listen to it with the pitch brought up 30%, you will likely hear Laurel.
Laurel. Laurel.
Your brain has so much stimulus at all times that it uses...
Okay, so that's that. I thought the way they changed the pitch of it, and I could hear it both ways when they pulled that trick, but when it's sort of just off by itself, it doesn't sound like either to me. So I was surprised that, you know, just like my son, he was like, "You don't hear Laurel? How do you not hear Laurel?" Yeah, yarry. Yeah, that's what I hear too. Team Laurel. We love to group ourselves, don't we? And I once again find myself not really fitting into either of the groups. So like, oh, I wish I could naturally hear. I can't force myself to hear it. I can sort of force myself to kind of hear it, but it's strange. It's just wild. It just sounds like nothingness to me. Yarry, like a word that isn't a word. So that's pretty much it. Now I am going to be back tonight with Eileen from One Channel. So we do have another live show planned for this evening at 9 Eastern, 8 Central. So I hope you can join tonight for that. We're going to be discussing God, and it's going to be a fun topic. This is the show we were planning on doing last week, and we just both ran out of time. I guess I overbooked or something and didn't leave enough slots, and then she was busy working and stuff. So it's happening tonight. We talked about it a few weeks ago, but we're going to be discussing God, all the gods, and it should be an interesting hot topic for some. I'm sure we will upset a few people, unfortunately, but for those who can sort of be unbiased and objective and look at this stuff, it's at least interesting. I love digging into this stuff, but you know, you can't really dig too deep without upsetting some people. Oh, that's a good idea. Willie says to try one ear at a time, maybe. That's a good idea. Yeah, and it was like that with another video out there had, if you were listening to high pitch sounds and you listened to it, you would hear one of them. And then if you were listening to low pitch sounds and then you listen to it, you'd hear the other one. That didn't work for me either, though. So I don't know. It's sort of like that with the shoe that looks like it's either, you know, like a blue and a white or a pink and a gray. I can't even remember what it was supposed to be. No, gray and blue or pink and white. Can't really remember, but my kids were divided on that too. Some saw it one way and some saw it the other way. So definitely interesting stuff. But I think it all kind of falls into that audio illusion or optical illusion realm with our perceptions. I think it's just the way we perceive things. And I think if you were, like when I look at the hand on that shoe, and the hand looks green, so I can see how it would shift the colors. You could probably adjust it a little bit and see a truer color. So I will see you guys in about 5.5 hours, I guess it is. Let me see. No, 4.5 hours for me, 9 Eastern. And we'll be back. I'll be back with Eileen. We're going to be talking God. So until a little bit later, lots of love and light to all of you guys in the chat. And we'll see you on the next one. Have a good one.